Hi, I'm Carl Munson, and behind the camera there is the green-fingered goddess, Louisa Munson. And we're just making this video to show you our, what we're calling the Wishbone hydroponic system, because we've been getting some nice feedback from the hydroponic group on YouTube and from friends. So I just wanted to talk people through it, about how we did it. What we started with, because we've been interested in hydroponics, I think for a year or two now, but we decided to have a go, or you decided to have a go, Louisa, with this window farm system, okay, which is recycled, repurposed 2-litre milk bottles, painted so it doesn't damage the roots. The clay pellets were inside there, and then we had some of Granny's old tights to stop the flow of detritus coming through into the system, and these were hung up in the window, 2 lots of 5. Worked pretty well actually. The plants liked it in the sunshine there. You can see we've got a lovely south-facing vista. We're south-facing. That's South Devon out there, for those of you in the United States. So a lot of lovely sunshine coming through, which the guys in these planters here really liked, but it was difficult to water. So we looked at some YouTube vids and decided that we would go with a system based on this, and what you see behind us, which is 68mm drain pipe. And you can get this, I mean, you guys in America get this sort of thing from Home Depot, don't you? But we've got the magical kingdom of Trago just around the corner from us, where you can get, I think it's a 2.5 metre length of that for about £6 British. These clips are about £1 each, and then you've got 90-degree angles here for the corners, and 112.5-degree angles here, I think, so that you can make the run to suit your space. The first setup we did, and that was using a hole cutter like that, draw a line along the pipe, and then put your drill a pilot hole on the line, and then drill these. We've got about 5mm between them, and the hole cutter size is 60mm. In fact, I started with 60mm because we had a nice opaque cup to begin with, but then we couldn't find any more opaque cups, so we had to use a slightly smaller cup, and that's a 55mm. So there's the cup, and we've burnt holes in the bottom of it to make it into a net cup using a conventional soldering iron. We did those underneath the kitchen extractor to keep it nice and safe, get rid of the plastic fumes. But I don't know if you want to do a little bit of a close-up on there. We're just burning holes in the base like that, and I'll show you how the roots go through those in just a minute. We had leaks in the first setup until I discovered silicone grease. And then you just grease up the joints with the silicone grease, which makes a watertight connection, which is better than solvent, because if you use solvent and bond it together, you don't get any more movement in it, and your system is literally glued up together. Be interested to hear back from you about, I mean, clearly that's not organic, but how dangerous it might be to have in a food system. Right, so
Carl, can you explain why it might be essential to be able to remove the system?
Remove the system?
Yeah, why did you use silicone grease, for instance? Because we wanted to keep it so we could take it apart, didn't we? Did you want to explain why that was important?
No, maybe you should explain that.
Oh, it's just...
Good question.
Because as the plants are growing, their roots will grow into the tubes,
like
and
that.
Carl's just lifting up one now, so you can see the roots are actually growing through the net cup. As they mature, the roots actually go down the pipe, and it's quite important to be able to flush your pipe out regularly, because obviously because lots of bacteria and algae could get into the system, so it's quite good to be able to clean out the system, and that's why we opted for the grease, so that we could take it apart in between big plantings.
I'm glad you asked me that. Right, so here's our sump or reservoir of water. The problem with our system in the window, based on these, is that we found it difficult to water. And it's quite a complex system for feeding water through this system in a mechanised way. This appeared to be a much simpler system. You've got an IKEA storage box here, which is your sump or your reservoir, and inside there are 2 pumps, a water pump and an air pump. There's the air pump, which aerates the water to keep it nice and oxygenated, and your water pump is what's coming through this black pipe here and up and into the feed at the top, and it's gravity fed, as you can see. So it comes in at the top there, and you can see it's a little bit brown because there's seaweed in there. That's a feed we put in because we thought, well, we're trying to get the balance right between the feed the sunlight and the water, and we'd really welcome your feedback about that because we haven't got it quite right. These took a real bashing from the sun yesterday. You can see it's quite overcast today, but in strong sunlight, fortunately we've got these blinds because some of the plants took a real bashing from the sun yesterday, but the green-fingered goddess has got them revived again, which is fantastic. Yeah, so here we go. It just runs down, it's gravity fed, comes all the way around to basically a U-bend at the bottom here. Green goddess is just catching up with me. And then down here and back, and you can see how I've put screws in, because when you put silicone grease in the joints, everything just wobbles apart because it's basically lubricated. So you just tap a hole and you can join it together with a tapping screw there. Then we make our journey back to the reservoir.
You can probably see that some of these plants are a little bit teeny tiny.
Oh, do you want to talk us through them?
Yeah,
What have we got?
well, we've got some coriander, we've got parsley, we've got, for instance, that's pak choi, we've got chili, we've got tomatoes. Tomatoes. We've got lots and lots of different things. But some of our plants are a little bit tiny, and so their roots don't actually make it all the way down to the cup.
Ah, so you've got a system for that, haven't you?
Yeah. See, for instance, the courgettes and the green beans and the purple beans, they've all got roots that are right down at the bottom of the root cup, which you can probably see there. So they naturally pick up the water and the
Whereas
Carl has found
I should have done a big reveal there. Here we go.
a tiny little parsley plant. And so what I did was make a, well, essentially a wick to wick up the fluid. So we just ripped up some old cotton shorts that we weren't using anymore, and then we put them in one of the holes and halfway up the cup, so the water wets the balls and gives the that sounded really rude, and gets the rooting for some water. It gets them feeding down slowly but surely, and as they get bigger I'll pull the wicks out so they don't get too
plants get bigger, not the balls. Right, okay, so we'd love to hear your feedback. We've got some lovely love and feedback from our American friends on the Hydroponic group on Facebook. It'd be so good to hear from you, particularly about the balance between sun, feed, what sorts of feed, got seaweed in there, the other plant food, even though it was organic, they said put gloves on, put a mask on or whatever, and I'm thinking I don't want to put that in my system if I'm going to be eating the food. So we'd love to hear your feedback about food, about water and sunlight and the balance. As you can see, it's natural light, this system. We're not using artificial lighting. And any other feedback you've got, we'd love to hear from you. Subscribe here.